Hello, students, and welcome to Time. Today, we are going to discuss the current affairs of January 2026. So, let's start with the current affairs. So, the first question is from the sports field. It says, who among the following emerged as winners at the 2025 FIDE World Cup Rapid Chess Championship held in Doha, Qatar? Doha is the capital of Qatar, one thing. And the answer of this question is third. So Magnus is from Norway and Alexandra is from Russia. So these two players, they won the championship. Uh, let's move towards the next question. In collaboration with which private bank did FITT IIT Delhi announced the launch of new cohort under the Ignite program, a focused initiative designed to support high potential startups? So there are many policies made by the government to support the startups. Uh, for an example, there is a scheme known as Startup India. Sorry. There are many initiatives taken by an organization known as SIDBI and so forth. Anyways, question number two answer is IDFC First Bank. IDFC First Bank. So it's actually this program is made to support the high potential startups by providing them funding and mentorship and industry connections, etc. So that's question number two. Let's move towards the question number three. It says identify the correct statement regarding the insurance penetration in India as of FY25. Option number one says Indian insurance penetration stays at 3.7% in FY25, which is very less. The global average is around 7%. Life insurance penetration in India declined to 2.7%. It is declining, which is again a issue of worry. Global insurance penetration is at 7.3%. As I told you, non-life insurance penetration stays flat as 1%. And in most of the non-life insurance, the main insurance component is the motor insurance because that is mandatory by the RTO of the countries, of the states, I'm sorry. So the answer is all of the above. So there is a term known as financial inclusion, which says that the four things should be provided to the citizen of the country. So the one is banking facilities, second is insurance, third is pension, and fourth is knowledge of investment. And for that, government has done many things earlier. For an example, recently government allowed 100% FDI in the insurance sector in India, which was a big move to provide the financial inclusion. However, if you are taking any exam which is related to insurance industry, maybe LIC or GIC or any other insurance company, you have to remember certain facts, historical aspect of the insurance. For an example, the insurance, like banking, was started by Britishers in the year of 1818. Remember this, yeah? So that was the first insurance company which was started in 1818 by Britishers. But they used to charge high premium to Indians. Now the question is why high premium to Indians? Those who don't know, premium means while you take the insurance policy, you have to pay the kind of a EMI to keep your insurance live. Every year you call it a kind of premium. So 1818, they started the first insurance company, and it was charging more higher premium to the Indians, stating that the Indian race is a race which is not good at longevity. So you die early, and therefore there are more chances that we have to pay you more compensation, and therefore more premium. So the question can also be like that. which was the first Swadeshi or the Indian life insurance company. So it was 1870 when the first Indian life insurance company came into existence. Does someone know what was the name of the first life insurance company? Let us discuss on YouTube. So I'm waiting for your answers to come. On YouTube. So I'm waiting for your answers to come. Anyone? The first insurance company of India. Okay, no problem. So the first uh, Indian life insurance company which did not charge extra premium to Indian client was Bombay Mutual Life Insurance Company. Remember this name? This was the first life insurance, Indian life insurance company, right? And then came the Life Insurance Act 1912. 1912, my bad, I'll write it again. 1912 Life Insurance Act. Remember this act. So this act was made to regulate the life insurance companies. Like Act was made to regulate the banks. This act 1912 was made to regulate the life insurance companies. So now what happened is 1930s something happened. 1930s, I'm sorry, the Great Depression came to US, right? So 1930s, the Great Depression came to US, and banks also faced the problem in the same time, and the insurance companies also faced the same problem. What was the problem? Because most of the clients were Europeans, and when the depression came, the Europeans they defaulted with many of the banks as well as the insurance companies. So there was Insurance Act 1938 made by Britishers for tougher regulations of insurance companies. Earlier, these companies were not regulated. And then 1972, there was this GIC Act. This is a timeline of insurance companies. Important for you to know if you're taking any insurance exam. So 1972, this GIC Act was made, whereas GIC, General Insurance Corporation, plus its four subsidiaries were took over by the government. So that happened. One thing important for you to know. 1993, there was this committee made, which is known as the Malhotra Committee, which suggested various reforms in the insurance sector, including allowing the FDI, the foreign direct investment. So remember Malhotra Committee. I don't remember which exam, but I think it was SBI which asked that which committee was made for the insurance sector reform. So you need to remember two committees. especially if you are preparing for banking, then the Narsimham committee preparing for insurance, then Malhotra committee, right? So after this, only even the private insurance companies were allowed, ICICI Prudential, Bajaj Alliance. These companies were allowed after this Malhotra committee only, right? So that's about the question number three, and the answer is fifth. Let's move towards the question number five. Sorry, question number four. So it says, under which agreement have all Indian export started receiving duty-free access to the Australian market? So the answer is ECTA. First of all, you need to remember the full form. That is Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, right? This CEPA, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, although there were many deals which happened with the different countries of it, recent of which is the India EU trade deal and India US trade deal, which was much awaited. However, the trade agreements with any of the country, if it happens, you need to remember the basics. For an example, CEPA, it happened in 2022 with United Arab Emirates. So again, the theme is always same. You will charge less taxes, they will charge less taxes. So there would be reduction in tariff and the non-tariff barriers. So the theme is always the same, but you need to remember with which country we have what. So with the UAE, we have this CEPA. Um, then uh, this RCPE. The full form is a Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Actually, it should be RCEP. Yes, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So that covers 15 countries. These are Asia Pacific nations. You call it ASEAN plus 5. So that is Association of Southeast Asian Nations plus 5 countries. Now, India interestingly opted out from this RCEP in 2019. So there were certain concerns. Let's not discuss those because that's a faded topic. However, India opted out. NAFTA is North American Free Trade Agreement. So NAFTA came into the force in 1994 with India, US, and Mexico. Sorry, not India, my bad. US, Mexico, and Canada. So 1994, it came into existence. However, Donald Trump was not happy with this, so he terminated NAFTA and it was replaced by USMCA. So that's your homework. It was replaced in 2020. So find out what happened. Right. CPTPP, and the full form is comprehensive. I'm sure that people are writing it because you have to remember this. So the full form is comprehensive and progressive agreement, comprehensive and progressive agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. Trans-Pacific Partnership. So it was signed in 2018. So it was actually signed in Obama era, but Donald Trump did not like it. So US also withdrawn from uh, TPP. So that's about it. Although the trade agreements these days are moreover, two countries are making the trade agreements. Earlier, it used to be a group of countries used to make the trade agreement. So WTO suggests the trade agreement. But these days, you know how the things are. So the countries are negotiating trade agreements with each other rather than going for the WTO way. Anyways, sorry, question number 5. So under the new capacity based excise system, excise is usually levied on the manufacturing. So it was duty on pan masala will be calculated based on what? So that's actually a question related to the fiscal policy. So there are two types of policies. You have the monetary policy and you have the fiscal policy. The basic difference is monetary policy is made by the RBI to control the inflation or flexible inflation targeting. So there is a monetary policy committee which makes the monetary policy, which has two type of tools. You have quantitative monetary policy, which has repo, reverse repo, CRR, SLR, and you have qualitative monetary policy, which is priority sector lending or direct action or moral suasion or so forth. Fiscal policy, RBI has nothing to do with it. Fiscal policy is made by the finance ministry. Can somebody tell me what three things are the major part of fiscal policy? What three things comprising the fiscal policy? I'm waiting at the chat in the chat box. Anyone? Okay, Sundar, I'm so sorry I could not read this live chat. Yeah, so fiscal policy, what three things are fiscal policy? So monetary policy, I told you, tools of monetary policy is repo, reverse repo. Why the fiscal policy is made? Yes, very good, Sundar. One more thing you are missing. So taxation, government spending. One more thing. The revenue. Okay. I'm still waiting for one more word which actually comprises the fiscal policy. So government spending, taxation, and so revenue expenditure. Taxation, so it's already told by Sundar. So remember, fiscal policy has three components: government expenditure, taxation, and subsidy. Right? So these three things becomes the fiscal policy. I'm sorry. Okay, no worries. So this is the fiscal policy change aimed at boosting revenue of the government and curbing evasion of tobacco sector. So this is the new capacity-based excise duty on pan masala, gutka, vagera vagera. So it it is levied on the packaging machine capacity and retail sales price. So this is the answer. Okay, from Jan 1st, 2026, residents, individuals, and HUFs can deposit uninvested capital gains. the first to launch the schemes and earn interest for up to 3 years while planning reinvestment. So question number 6. The answer is ICICI Bank, although, but this question itself is a kind of a puzzle. So we have to learn many things related to capital gains tax. So I'll be explaining certain very important facts related to the CGT. And then we'll move towards the next question. Okay. So let me start with explaining the capital gains tax. See, first thing first, who will pay the capital gains tax? So it can be levied on individual and it can also be levied on the company. First thing first. Now let us discuss how an individual I'll pay the capital gains tax. So I bought the shares of, let's say, Paytm. I bought them for, say, 1 lakh. I sold them for 1 lakh 50,000. So this 50,000 is my capital gains because share is my financial capital. Now I'll be paying the capital gains tax on this 50,000. It can be short term. That means I bought the shares of Paytm. I sold them within the 1 year. I have to pay the short term capital gains tax. But if I am keeping those shares for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, I'll be paying the long term capital gains tax. Okay. Short term capital gains tax is bit more because government want me to be in the stock market and do not jaldi sell my the shares, and long term would be less. So short term capital gains is more, long term is less. How much? I don't think that you need to remember the data. You need to remember the basic concept. Same goes with the companies. If I'm a company, let's suppose I'm Vodafone. I bought the cell towers. That is the immovable asset, also a capital of a company. And I bought it for 1 crore. And being a company, I'm now selling it for, let's say, 1.5 crores. So these 50 lakhs are taxable, known as the capital gains tax. Now, this is one logic. Another logic, the capital gains tax is tax withhold. Anyone, if you know what is tax withhold, I'm again waiting on the chat box. Let's make this class a bit. So, yes, Darshana, Sharmishta, Sandar. What do you understand by the tax withhold? No, not related to DDS. Let me explain. I'm so sorry for this bad throat. See, guys, I am having a flat. I bought a flat for 10 lakhs and I sold it to, let's say, Sandar for 15 lakhs. So 5 lakh rupees would be taxable. I sold the flat. It was my profit. I got 5 lakh rupees as capital gains. Manlo, imagine on this I have to pay the tax of 5,000 rupees. Now here is the interesting part. So these 5,000 rupees, I'm not going to pay. Sandar is going to pay. So moral of the story is when Sandar would give me the money of my flat, the payment, he would cut 5,000 rupees and he would give it to the government. So yes, good, Darshana. So this is what we call it a tax withhold. So capital gains tax is a tax withhold. I mean, it is levied on the seller, but has to be paid by the buyer. So there was a very interesting Vodafone issue on capital gains tax. If you want to dig deep, read about it. There are certain related terms to capital gains tax, like there is something known as GAR, General Anti-Avoidance Rule. Read about that, important. Then you also read about the DTAA, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. So with many countries, India earlier had this DTAA, and companies to escape the capital gains tax used to go to that countries, and then they used to have their post box companies or shell companies there, and then they used to invest in India to save the capital gains tax. So there were things related to that. So read about DTA, read about GAR. You'll come to know many things. Anyways, let's move towards to the next question. Name the startup accelerator initiative under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting that is partnered with FITT IIT Delhi to expand media tech incubation and innovation across India. Question number 7. Mauritius, as well as yes, with Mauritius it was there, and with Singapore it was there. But there are certain changes made by the government. So read about it. It's an interesting story. uh, Companies does many things to escape the capital gains. Anyways, question number 7. The answer is WAVEX. WAVEX. Anyways, let's move towards the next question. So according to RBI data, you have to identify the correct statement. So overall, SDQI score for scheduled commercial banks improved. Public sector banks scores saw their overall score rise. Private sector banks maintained stable performance. Foreign bank score improved. So it says that all is good. So the answer is fifth, all of the above. Okay, question number 9. RBI had proposed to raise the dividend payout cap for banks to percent of net profit from the earlier 40% rule. Question number 9, and the answer is 75%. So, financial market, or also known as the securities market. Now, these securities can be divided into two parts. It can be debt and it can be equity. So debt and equity. So if you are uh, a buyer of debt, I mean, it is also known as debentures. So usually these debt carries the interest. So if I've given a debt to a company, I'll be getting interest from the company, right? And I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll become a creditor of a company. Right, and I'll Right. But if I am investing in the equity, I'll become the owner of the company, at least in the books. And while company will make the profit, I would be getting the dividend. What if company will not make any profit? Will I still get the dividend? And will I still get the interest if company is not making the profit? So in case of debt, yes, I'll be getting the interest regardless of company is making the profit or loss. And at the time of when the company get liquidized, or you call it the liquidation of the company, that means the company is closing, I will be the first to get my share back. Here in equity, I would be, if company is making the profit, I'd be getting the dividend. If company is not making the profit, I will not be getting any dividend. Remember this, important, right? And at the time of liquidation, I'll be the last one. If something is left, I'll get it, otherwise I won't. So that's the basic difference between debt and equity. So these are both the types of securities, right? You need to remember this. So the place where these securities are bought and sold are known as the securities market. So securities market can be of share market, it can be the commodities market, whereas the commodities are sold, or the derivatives, whatever asset is selling, we can segregate security market. So these are different types. So if the new securities are issued in the market, so we call it IPO. These are also traded in the securities market. Okay. So question number 9 is 75%. Question number 10. Identify the correctly matched winner pair the recently announced 83rd annual Golden Globe Awards. So all of the above is correct. Question number 11. PhonePe payment gateway has launched PG Bolt for Dash and Dash transaction, enabling faster, secure in-app checkouts using device tokenization. Can someone tell me what is the meaning of tokenization here? What happens in tokenization? No one knows tokenization? Okay, I'll explain. So, see, while you pay via the Amazon or Flipkart or any other app, your credit card details earlier were ready for checkout. I mean, you just had to insert your CVV if you've already paid once from that e-commerce app. But then it was a threat, the threat of theft of your details. So tokenization would be kind of, it would hide the sensitive card information, such as the 16 digits card number, expiry date, and security code, that is CVV. Rather, it would give the token to the merchant. So this way, your card information would be safe and secured. You call it tokenization, right? So the answer of this is Visa and Mastercard. Okay, easy question, guys. Who owns PhonePe? Which e-commerce company is the owner of PhonePe? Yes, Darshana. Great. So Flipkart is the owner of PhonePe. Okay, let's move towards the next question. Which among the following has won the world's largest AI film award 2026? By the way, there is another AI summit which is going on in Delhi these days. So if you come across any news related to that, although today was a negative news that the delegates are not happy and their luggage was theft and other things came. However, if some positive things come out of it, please pay attention to it. Uh, Same complaint came with some games which are happening in Delhi few days ago, and the players are complaining that the birds and dogs are visiting the place. So there were certain negative things came from Delhi Stadium. Anyways, question number 12. The answer is Lily Zubair Jlassi. Question number 13. Name the joint military civil fusion exercise that was successfully conducted from 8 to 9 January at the Diggi Range Kharki military station under the aegis of NG area Southern Command. And the answer is Tanja Shakti. Which of the following was conferred with the Asia Best Employer Brand Award in the prestigious Hong Kong Leadership Award at CMO Asia Award? And the answer is Bombay Stock Exchange, PSE. Okay, what is the world's oldest stock exchange and which year? Okay, I'll tell you the year. 1602 it was incorporated. Tell me, world's oldest stock exchange. CB type exams, they ask you a lot of such kind of questions. So, your time start now. I'll wait on YouTube because I know it lags, so the answers will come after some time. So, yes, Flipkart and Walmart both are right because Walmart these days own more than 70% of Flipkart. So, I'm waiting for the answer. World's oldest stock exchange, which was incorporated in 1602. Yes, very good, Sundar. That's Amsterdam Stock Exchange. That's in Netherlands. So this you need to remember. Sometimes, as I told you, CB kind of exams, they ask you this timeline. Asia's oldest stock exchange is, of course, the Bombay Stock Exchange. So it was made in 1875. Worth to remember. Uh, then it was uh, the latest is National Stock Exchange, which was made in 1990s, early 90s. So, the banks have core banking solutions or core banking services for e-banking. Stock exchanges also have their electronic platforms for trading. So, like BSC's online trading platform is known as BOLT. and NEAT is NSE, National Stock Exchange Online Platform. So this you need to remember. Anyways, we are going to discuss IRDA, RBI, and SEBI in the different questions. Okay, so let's move further. So name the current World Bank president who has been named as a member of Board of Peace for Gaza redevelopment. You know, you have to pay a lot of money and then you'll become the part of Board of Peace. The idea of Donald Trump. And I'm sure that most of you are aware with the name of the president of World Bank. So I'm waiting for the answer. This person is former CEO of MasterCard. And anyways, guesses? What is the name? Yes, very good. Mr. Ajay Banga. Mr. Ajay Banga is the current president of World Bank. Mr. Raghuram Rajan was the 23rd governor of RBI. He teaches these days. He is a Nobel laureate. Who is Bibek Deborah? There was this committee made by the Prime Minister, which is known as Bibek Deborah Committee. He was a member of Niti Aayog. Can someone tell me why the Bibek Deborah Committee was made? Why the Bibek Deborah Committee was made? No one? Okay, I will tell you. So what happened is this is actually related to the annual financial statement, which is Article 112 of the Indian Constitution. What I'm talking about? I'm talking about the budget. So budget is also known as it is actually known as annual financial statement in the constitution. There is no word budget present in the constitution. Rather, it's annual financial statement. So earlier till 1920s, yes, good Darshana. The British used to only make one budget. That was the railway budget. Purpose to take the wealth of India from India to the other countries via the railway network. So then 1924 there is this Eckworth Committee made. 1924. It suggested that there should be two budgets. One is railway, other should be union because for Indians also you should do something. So they started making two budgets when British left India. The ruling party Congress it started giving two budgets. So earlier, what used to happen? There used to be economic survey, then railway budget, then union budget. Modi ji came. Modi ji said it is a British legacy. We should go away with it, and he said that whether we should continue with the railway budget or not and he made the Bibek Deborah committee. See, it's very old. So I think in 2016 or 17, the railway budget stopped coming. I mean, they abolished railway budget. Not sure with the years, but Bibek Deborah committee was made initially, the initial Modi government days. However, in the name of the contemporary thing, because whenever the budget is presented, these things are discussed, and budget was recently presented. So Bibek Deborah committee was made on railway budget, and it said that it's a populist measure. Populist, what is the meaning of populist? To make people happy. So he said the railway ministry gets the money of this railway budget and it spends all the money in its own constituency, and therefore we should do away with the railway budget, and railway budget was abolished. So therefore, Bibek Deburoi was in news. Anyways, let's move further. So the answer of this is Ajay Banga. Sorry, question number four. Yes, Ajay Banga. Question number 16. India's startup movement, national startup, turned 10 on 2026. So the answer is 4th, 16th Jan. Question number 17. The Supreme Court recently accepted the recommendations by a committee of Ministry of Environment on the definition of the Aravalli Hills. It was in the news like anything. Aravalli should be above the, how much above the sea level, below the sea level, and so forth. So, nonetheless, question number 17th, and the answer is I think you know the answer because the state which was not at all involved in this was Maharashtra. So Aravalli is one of the oldest fold mountain. Uh, and you know what happened, so I will not discuss this in details. Question number 18th. And even the correct statement regarding the Bureau of Port Security, the setup to be set up by the center. It will be responsible for regulatory oversight. It would be established as a statutory body because it was made by law. So it will function with the aegis of Section 13 of Shipping Act 2025 and will headed by a Director General of the rank of an IPS officer. And question number 18, the all options are correct. Okay. Question number 19th. The Indian Coast Guard has inducted the first pollution control vessel named Dash at Goa Shipyard Limited. Question number 19th. And the answer is Samudra Pratap. So it will clean up the marine oil spills and other pollutants from the sea. This way, it would consequently help to prevent the pollution in the sea. Question number 20th. What is the reconstruction amount package offered by Government of India to Sri Lanka in the aftermath of Cyclone Ditwa? So question number 20, the answer is $450 million. So India has many foreign policies, out of which one is a neighborhood first policy. So in that policy, we have done that. India is always, it always tries to make its image as a soft power. So these are all things which makes you a soft power country. So you give the aid and other things to the neighborhoods. Anyways, so that's question number 20. The 21 question says, which among the following teams has won the Global Chess League 25 Season 3 title? So the answer is Alpine SG Pipers. Question number 22. From Jan 1st, 2026, which country will assume the prestigious chairpersonship of the Kimberley process, a tripartite initiative involving governments, the international diamond industry, and civil society to prevent the trade in conflict diamonds? And the answer of this question is India. Question number 23. To make the process of issuing duplicate securities faster, more efficient, and investor friendly, market regulator SEBI has increased the monetary threshold for the simplified documentation process from the earlier 5 lakhs to. The answer is 10 lakhs. Question number 24. Which men's double spear has won the bronze medal at the BWF World Tour Finals 25 in Hangzhou, China? And the answer is Satvik Siraj and Chirag Shetty. Question number 25. With reference to RBI data, identify the correct statements regarding employment in the Indian banking sector. So, employees increased to 18.8 lakhs. Number of employees engaged by public sector banks increased, private sector banks employee decreased, small finance banks added nearly 16,000 employees. Now, these small finance banks are in news. So, these are certain basics you need to remember related to the differential banks actually. So, differential banks. There was this committee made by Dr. Raghuram Rajan, who was the 23rd governor of RBI. The name of that committee was Nachiket More. Nachiket More committee recommended something in 2013 and 14. And he said that there should be some new types of banks to facilitate the financial inclusion in the banking sector and to increase the competition as well. So, yes, with the suggestion of Nachiket More committee, these small finance banks came into existence. Remember this. Question number 26. Identify the correct statements regarding insurance penetration in India. So it remained unchanged. Global is 7.3. We have recently discussed, and these all the points are correct. So this shows that India's market is growing in absolute terms. Anyways, so the answer is 1, 2, and 3. Which regulatory body has approved in principle a new framework allowing scheduled commercial banks to independently sponsor pension funds for managing national payment system assets? And the answer is PFRDA, Provident Fund and Regulatory Development Authority. Sorry, my bad. It's Pension Fund. Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority. So it was made in 2013. So remember, it was actually given the statutory status in 2013, and the headquarters are in New Delhi. It also implements the NPS, National Pension System. It also selects the fund managers to National Pension System. As you know that the money is partly uh, or sometimes fully invested in the market, and it regulate all the public and private pension funds except EPFO. EPFO has its own laws and everything. Otherwise, all the public and private pension funds are regulated by PFRDA. So it does the same job as done by IRDA or SEBI. It protects the clients, the pensioners, prescribed liquidity norms for the pension fund companies. It audits, so on and so forth. And it also has the power of a civil court. Remember this. IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, regulates the insurance companies, headquartered not in Delhi, it's in Hyderabad. Sorry, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. RBI is in Mumbai, TRI is in Delhi, SEBI is in Mumbai, and I'm sure that you know the names of chiefs. If you don't know, it's very important to know the chiefs of the regulatory bodies. Like SEBI chief is Mr. Tuhin Kanta Pandey and so forth. I won't tell you all. I mean, RBI governor, I won't tell you. I expect that if you're listening this class, this much you know. So let's move further. According to the RBI, which the following is a transaction account. Transaction account. So, transaction account is one which permits unlimited withdrawals and deposits. So, it includes current account, it includes cash credit, and so forth. So, the answer is all 1, 2, and 3. So, a saving account which have restrictions like BSBD, whereas you can not do unlimited transaction, that are not purely the transaction accounts. Otherwise, all these three are transaction accounts. Name of the portal run by the RBI for citizens to verify financial entities, report illegal deposit taking, and track complaints. And the answer is Sachit. So there are many apps floated by RBI, SEBI for portals for this fraud prevention, because of late the online frauds and phishing instances are increasing. So there are good chances that they will ask you the names of portals and apps. So make a list. For an example, not related to that, but if I ask you a question, like there is something known as core banking solutions or CBS, right? Every bank has its own CBS. What you call the CBS of RBI? What is the name? Come on, in the chat box. What is the CBS of RBI? So the name of the CBS of RBI is eKuber. Remember this, important. This is the place where is the banks open their current account, and also the PSL certificates, the priority sector lending certificates traded here. Okay, question number 30th. The RBI has directed banks to link MSME loans to an external benchmark with a reset clause to improve monetary policy transmission. What is the meaning of transmission of monetary policy? So RBI is cutting the repo rate. Why? Because RBI wants the liquidity should get into the market. People should get loans at lower interest rates. I'm sorry. And there should be, ultimately, there should be demand in the market. That means if RBI would cut the repo rate, banks should also cut their interest rate. But sometimes it does not happen. And you call it incomplete transmission of monetary policy. Right. So, external benchmark is also known as, it was actually known as benchmark prime lending rate, BPLR. And there are certain changes made in this recently. So we are going to discuss this in some other slide after some time. Anyways, so question number 30, the answer is 3 months. Identify the correct statements given below. Current accounts of businesses and individuals with high transaction volume, yes. Cash credit account acts as a short-term flexible business loan for working capital, yes. Demat account holds shares, bonds, and securities in electronic form, yes. Because the full form is dematerialized account. Recurring deposit accounts allows to deposit of FD every month. I'm sorry, fixed amount every month for a predetermined period. And answer is all of the above. This is the core banking knowledge you should have, right? So, if I ask you which entity or body converts the hard copy of shares into the soft copy, I mean, which body converts shares into digital form, what you'll say? Or which body holds the shares and bonds into digital form? So that body is known as depository. So it keeps the shares into dematerialized form. Upon client's request, these bodies can also convert the shares into the hard copy. You call it rematerialized form, right? So customers, if they want to play into the share market, they should open an account with the depository partners. You call it DP. It can be a NBFC, it can be a bank. So all these things are regulated by SEBI. So SEBI also needs an act to regulate the depositories. So the name of the act is Depository Act. Depository Act 1996. So there are some important depositories. You need to know the names also. So one is known as, sorry, the one is known as CDSL. The full form is Central Depository Services Limited. And the other is NSDL. That is National Securities Depository Limited. So these are the depositories. In fact, this NSDL also has the RBI license to operate as a payment bank. So read more on this. Next question. As per the RBI, which of the following pairs are correctly matched? CMS for lodging complaints against regulated entities. Udgam to search for unclaimed deposits. We already discussed this in one class. Pravah for individuals and entities to apply for RBI licenses and approvals. Flair for reporting on foreign liabilities and assets. And the answer of question number 32 is fourth, all of the above. You really need to remember these portals, these apps, these initiatives by RBI. Okay. Question number 33, according to RBI, on which of the following parameters is the external benchmark lending rate, EBLR? This is the latest one. As I told you, I'm going to discuss in one slide. So yes, how does the external benchmark is calculated? So it calculates the repo rate, 91-day treasury bill yield, 182-day treasury bill yield. Benchmark market interest rates developed by Financial Benchmarks India. So the answer is all of the above. So RBI is, as you know, RBI has a monetary policy committee, which is of 6 members committee, which decides the monetary policy rates, and the target is to keep inflation between 2 to 6%. You know this, right? But who decides the lending rates of individual banks? Here comes the EBLR. So, you know that in 1969, the government began with the nationalization of the private banks. And that time, the interest rates were administered. When I say administered interest rates, I mean government would decide that how much interest rate the bank should charge on borrowers. But here comes 1991 and the forefather of banking sector, M. Narasimham. You must have seen that in my every class, at least once, if I talk about the banks, I always talk about M. Narasimham. Trust me, guys, this is a very old committee, but this is the major reform of banking sector. So today, whatever banking sector you see is the credit goes to M. Narasimham. So please read about the Narasimham committees made twice very carefully. So M. Narasimham suggested deregulation of interest rates in 1991. So he said the government should not dictate, let the banks decide what should be the interest rate. RBI should only give the guidelines or methodology to banks. It should not decide how much interest they are going to charge. So in 2003, RBI came up, it introduced the BPLR, benchmark prime lending rate. That is, they said what should be the base rate of your interest. So it should be related to the prime customer. I mean, you would, let's say the prime customer is a customer who can repay the loan easily. So whatever interest you will charge from that customer, it should be your benchmark. You should not charge below that. So then there were certain changes, then came MCLR. And then finally, post October 2019, remember this, RBI came up with external benchmark lending rate. So what are the benefits that would to implement EBLR? So the benefits would be there would be a better transmission of monetary policy, better transparency and accountability to borrowers, and so forth. So this is a small timeline. You can always research as I gave you the hints related to that. Question number 34, in which of the following areas are banks adopting, deploying agentic AI? So agentic AI is nothing but it would be working as a banker, as it can work as a cashier, it can work as a data entry operator, and so forth. So it would be doing all the things. So the answer is all of the above. So it can make the real-time decisions. It would be autonomous app, I mean the AI, and so forth. Anyways, question number 35, which is the following is the key aspect of the flexible inflation targeting FIT frameworks. So 4% consumer price index inflation, yes. So minimum 2, maximum 6. So yes, the band is 4%. A flexible tolerance band of 2 to 6% plus minus 2 percentage point, yes. The target and band are revised every 5 years. Now, monetary policy is a core. I mean, if I am preparing for banking sector, monetary policy is something I should know. Each and everything related to monetary policy. So on this time portal only, we have lot many videos related to monetary policy. Please see those videos so that you'll have better idea of the monetary policy. Nonetheless, so see, every central bank of the countries, when coming to making a monetary policy, applies three strategies. So the way the companies, I'm sorry, the central banks make the monetary policies. The first strategy is exchange rate stability. Exchange rate stability. Singapore and other export-oriented economies use this. What they do? They try to keep their local currency at certain rate against the US dollar. You always call, I mean, I don't call it, the US also call these countries currency manipulators. So one target of monetary policy can be to stabilize the exchange rate. The second type of monetary policy is the central bank has multiple indicators to control. What can be multiple indicators to control? The central bank would focus on economic growth, central bank will focus on employment, inflation control, and many things. And the third strategy of making the monetary policy, which is followed by RBI today, is the flexible inflation targeting. So the only target of the RBI is to control the inflation, and the other things will automatically fall in line. So RBI followed this multiple indicators till 2020, 2016, my bad. How this FIT came into the picture? So there was this committee made in 2013-14 again by Raghuram Rajan. Can someone know what committee was made on monetary policy reforms? I will wait on the chat box. Let me see how many of you are aware. I would repeat, which committee was made on monetary policy reforms? So it was Urjit Patel. Yes, 24th governor of RBI. So Urjit Patel committee was made on the monetary policy reforms, and it was adopted in 2016 by amending the RBI Act Section 45. Okay, fair enough. Let's move. According to the RBI, which of the following has emerged the top performer with the supervisory data quality index? Foreign banks, public sector banks, private sector banks, small finance banks, RRBs, and the answer is small finance banks. So it is having an impressive score of 91.5, surpassing public sector banks, private banks, and so forth. Anyways, which of the following had proposed to raise the dividend payout cap for banks to 75% net profit from earlier 40% rule? And this question is linked to question number 9. The answer is RBI. In which of the following areas did the RBI Supervisory Data Quality Index measures data quality? So it measures accuracy, timeliness, completeness, consistency, and the answer is all of the above. India's banking system hit a record loan dash to dash deposit ratio LDR of around dash percent in the December 2025 quarter, and the answer is 81 to 82%. Payment Regulatory Board (PRB) came into effect in May 2025 as a result of an amendment to the question number 40th Payment and Settlement System Act 2007. So, here is something important. Uh, First thing first is RBI Act 1934. So till 1913, at the time of British, the banks were considered as company and they were registered under the Companies Act. But when it comes to Companies Act, the monitoring was lax. So even the banks were not required to keep any CRR or SLR, no Basel norms, nothing. So 1926, remember this year, 1926, a royal commission, a royal commission on Indian currency was set up. And the name of that commission was Hilton Young. Now, this Hilton Young Commission suggested that there should be a central bank of the country. And he also said that the name should be Reserve Bank of India, RBI. Now, as I told you, 1930s, there was this Great Depression in US, leads to collapse of 450 plus banks of India. And so British government became serious about setting up RBI. And then came 1934 RBI Act, right? So RBI became fully operational from 1st April 1935, and the first governor of RBI was Sir Os Osborne Smith. Remember this name. He was the first governor, but British. Nonetheless, this is also important, Sir 5C Act. So, in 1991, when Narsimham Committee was made, he also suggested uh, that borrowers, those who default, they, if there is a case on them, they obtain the stay order from the courts, and therefore there should be different courts for the defaulters of banks. And from to learn from this, the debt recovery tribunals (DRTs) were set up in 1993. See, this was also suggested by Narsimham, and therefore this committee is important. So DRTs is like if you have defaulted, made an NPA of a bank, you cannot, the ordinary courts cannot interfere in the loan recovery process. So that was actually DRT. But then DRTs were less and cases were more. So it was like Tariq pe Tariq, things were stuck. So again, Narsimham too suggested that DRT needs to be strengthened with an act known as SURFICE. Now, I've seen many a times the full form is asked. What is the full form of SURFICE? If you know the full form, very good. Otherwise, I want you to write it down and remember this. Although it's sorry, a bit long full form. It's securitization and reconstruction of financial assets and enforcement of security interest. So it was enacted in 2002. And now if you are defaulting or if you are making the loan to NPA, the banks has more rights to auction the security deposited by you to the bank, the collateral, to the ARCs, asset reconstruction companies. So very important NPA related things like SURFICE Act or the recent insolvency and bankruptcy code. This is also important. Read about that. Nonetheless, let's move further. The first meeting of India's Payment Regulatory Board was held in Mumbai on Jan 5th. In this context, who among the following will serve as ex officio member of the PRB? Question number 41. And the answer is RBI governor, deputy governor, nominated RBI officials. So all 1, 2, and 3. So it was created under Section 3. Remember this. Section 3 of Payment and Settlement Act 2007. What we were discussing few slides ago. So earlier it was known as BPSS. So it brought into effect from May 9th, 2025. Nonetheless, which bank reported nearly 12% per year on year growth in advances of 28.44 trillion during the October-December quarter? And the answer is HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank is the largest private sector bank of India, was established in 1994. Headquarters are in Mumbai. And this is also a DSIB. DSIB. What's the full form of DSIB? Let me see. How many of you know the full form? It's domestic systematically important bank. Domestic systematically important bank. Too big to fail, actually. So 2023, it was merged with HDFC Limited, and then it became a giant. It was started by Hasmukh Bhai Parekh, is the founder. Remember, Hasmukh Bhai Parekh is the founder, and there are few more key people which are associated with HDFC Bank, like uh, Deepak Parekh or Aditya Puri. So read about these people. Anyways, question number 43. Which small finance bank named Karthikeyan Manickam as its chairman on January 2nd, 2026? And the answer is ISAF Small Finance Bank. With reference to the SBI research report, identify the correct statement regarding deposits and advance of Indian banks. So the answer is all of the above are correct. With the help of the financial fraud risk indicators, 660 crore cyber fraud losses have been prevented in just 6 months. And who is behind this? So, Department of Telecommunication is behind this. So it alerts the bank customers that there is going to be fraud, so keep your money safe and so forth. The Competition Commission of India has cleared US-based Blackstone's proposal to acquire 9.99% stake through warrants in private sector lenders. And which private sector lender we are talking about? So we are talking about Federal Bank. So Indian government wants that no private company should do the monopoly, and therefore it came up with something known as MRTPC, Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1970. And then there were certain changes made, and it was made as Competition Act 2002, which prevents companies to do the monopoly. And the body which is responsible to implement the Competition Act 2002 is Competition Commission of India. So it's a statutory regulator. It has a chairman plus 6 members, and it has imposed fine on various big companies of India. Even the foreign companies like Google were subject to fine by CCI for posing the monopoly with its Android software. So read about it's an interesting story of Google and CCI. Airtel was also fined once. So read about it. Canara Bank has launched a new UPI application named Canara AI One Pay. The app allows user to link bank account from any bank, yes, enable instant money transfer, yes, enable merchant payments, yes, make bill. So UPI can do all those things. So it's an easy question. The answer is all of the above. 47 is all of the above. With which private sector bank did the Indian Army renew its MOU? So the answer is HDFC Bank. The RBI has recently cancelled the certificate of registration of 35 NBFCs. So they did the non-compliance. Which act is there? So the answer is RBI Act 1934. Question number 50. Which bank has challenged the RBI's stance to Central Information Commission over the disclosure of sensitive financial information? Bank said it's going to uh, hamper our confidentiality, our clients' interest, and other things. So all of the banks challenged RBI's stance. Financial Intelligence Unit has introduced stringent new anti-money laundering and know your customer guidelines for virtual digital assets. Either which the following is not part of guidelines. So everyone is a part of these guidelines. So answer is none of the above. So there is an act known as Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. This act ensures that the black money should not be converted into white. And the body which imposes this act is known as ED, Enforcement Directorate. So 2013, something interesting happened. There is a online magazine known as Cobra Post, and this Cobra Post uh, proved that ICICI, HDFC, and Axis Bank has played with the norms of RBI, and they did not do KYC and send the money abroad for money laundering purpose. And RBI imposed a heavy fine using Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2020 to 2002. Anyways, the following are the functions of the authorized dealers. So they buy and sell foreign currencies, they facilitate remittances, that means money coming from NRIs to India, issue letters of credit. The same thing which happened with Nirav Modi, right? Deal with overseas investment and external commercial borrowings. That means Indian companies can borrow from from foreign companies. So the answer is all of the above. It can be a commercial bank, it can be a state cooperative bank or a urban cooperative bank authorized by RBI under Section 10. Remember, Section 10 of FEMA, Foreign Exchange Management Act. It says that without the permission of RBI, you cannot take foreign currency outside India, you cannot bring foreign currency. Although there is an exception known as Liberalized Remittance Scheme, LRS, which says that 2.5 lakh dollars you can take outside India without permission of RBI. You can do anything, you can have fun, you can go and play in casino, you can drink the water of Alps, but you cannot start the business. That's the only condition of LRS. Anyways, so FEMA Act 1999, uh, it permits the authorities to deal in foreign exchange. 53, which is the following, has become India's first Grameen bank to launch a solar-powered ATM van. So this was interesting. I saw this van. I'll show you in the next slide. So the answer is Tripura Grameen Bank, and this is the van. So a colorful van, which is purely solar powered. Anyways, in January 26, the heads of 10 monetary authorities, including the Bank of International Settlement, which is in Basel, expressed solidarity with the chair of US Federal Reserve after he was subjected to political pressure from the US president to cut interest rate. So this guy was in deep trouble. His name is Jerome Powell, and he is the current chair of US Federal Reserve. And Feb 17, 2026, President Trump has nominated former Fed Governor Kevin Warsh, Kevin Warsh. I'm sorry, I'm not sure about the dates, but it happened in the recent past. So Kevin Warsh is going to succeed, I'm sorry, Jerome Powell as the chair of Federal Reserve. So the term of Powell is going to be expired in the month of May 2026. And there were many questions related to the central bank's independence and monetary authority, and Donald Trump challenged all these. So therefore, things happened. Anyways, under whose leadership has the Pension Fund Regulatory and Development Authority of India constituted a 15-member high-level committee. So it's related to NPS, and the answer is MS Sahu. MS Sahu is the former chairperson of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. Remember this, IBBI. India is trying to expand the global reach of its homegrown UPI. So what countries accept UPI? Singapore accepts, Qatar accepts, UAE, France. So answer is all of the above. So you should know that which agency of what country UPI has a tie-up with. For an example, Pay Now is Singapore. Pay Now, right? Or UAE is Ani. These are the local payment service providers of these companies with which UPI had a tie-up. So you should know. Nonetheless, uh, which foreign bank has relaunched its priority banking in India? So the answer is STANSI, Standard Chartered. It belongs to UK. It's a British bank. In 2025, India's banking and financial service sector become a major global investment hub, attracting an estimated how much foreign investment? So the answer is 14 to 15 billion dollars. Because of digitalization, confidence in India's banking industry, and so forth. And by the correct statement with regards to the primary dealers in India, they are Financial Intermediary Authority by RBI. They are often called merchant bankers. Yes, they play a crucial role in government security market. Yes, they also deal in corporate bonds. So yes, all of the above, everything is correct. For which institution did the RBI on January 8 proposes a mandatory 3-year cooling off period? Cooling off period means once you became the director for 10 years, for next 3 years you have to wait. You cannot become a director again. So the answer is 5. To prevent the concentration of power, no? With reference to the RBI's trend and progress of banking in India report, identify the correct statement regarding ATM scenario in India as of March 31st, 2025. So ATM numbers, private sector ATMs, public sector ATMs, white label ATMs that are owned by the private companies. First white label ATM was Tata IndiCash, remember. Nonetheless, so 61 answer is 5, all A, B, C, D, E. For which private sector bank the RBI recently flagged deficiencies in private priority sector lending. So PSL is what? Part of the qualitative monetary policy that the banks has to give this much loan to 40% of their off-balance sheet exposure to the underprivileged or for home loans or for student loans or loans to women. And the answer is HDFC and ICICI Bank because these banks, they do not have their branches in rural areas. In Jan 2026, Bulgaria became the 21st member of Eurozone to adopt the euro. So its earlier currency was lira or lev. The answer is lev. Lira is what? Which country has lira as its currency? So it's Turkey, Turkish lira, right? Shilling. Shilling is the currency of Austria, right? And Corona is the currency of Czech Republic. Peseta used to be the currency of Spain, but then all of them has opted euro as their primary currency. So some of the currencies are obsolete. Although we already had a deal with European countries, so knowing about Eurozone and European Union both are important. So there was this Maastricht Treaty. Maastricht Treaty of 1992, also known as the Treaty of European Union, led the foundation of European Union. Right. So remember this. So Croatia joined in 2023 and Bulgaria is the latest country to join. So the euro is now accepted or used by over 350 million people across Europe. Big bet. To strengthen the exports of micro, small and medium enterprises, the central government launched the Export Promotion Mission. So these are statements. You have to find the correct statement. So 64 answer is all five are correct. 65 to enhance rural financial inclusion, promotion of livelihood and logistics enablement, the Ministry of Rural Development signed a memorandum of understanding with the Dash in January 2026. And the answer is Ministry of Post. Who became the fifth regional airline of India to join the International Air Transport Association? And the answer is Akasa Air. Was actually the investment of late investor Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Akasa Air has become the fifth regional airline. So other being Air India Express, Indigo and SpiceJet. After that, this Akasa Air. Question number 67. Identify the correct statement about the world economic situation and prospectus report. So 1, 2, 3 and question number 67 all are correct. 1, 2 and 3. So global problems, you call them headwinds. The United Nations declared 2026 as the International Year of Women Farmer. Fifth is the answer. Madhav Gadgil, who died in Jan 2026, was an ecologist. There was this famous Gadgil committee associated with this, which was made to for the conservation of the ecologically sensitive Western Ghats. Nagori Ashwagandha has received a GI tag. It's from which state? Question number 70th. 70th. So the answer is Rajasthan. And you know about the GI tag. We already discussed this in one class. Which foreign bank received approval from the SBI to set up a wholly owned subsidiary arm in India RBI in Jan 2026? Question number 71 and the answer is SMBC. Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, a major Japanese bank rather. Okay, question number 72. Identify the correct statement about the World Bank's Global Economic Prospectus released in January 26. So first is correct, second is correct, third is correct. World Bank comes up with many other reports. So whenever these reports come, please have an eye on the newspaper. So World Development Report is also given by World Bank. ease of doing business index, a very important index. And another important report which is given by World Bank is a remittance and migration report, which always says every year it says that India is the largest remittance earner country of the world. So these are few reports given by World Bank, including this global economic prospectus. Earlier there used to be themes also. I remember earlier when the recession came, the theme was darkening skies. Anyways, 73. Which regional bank won the IBA award for best fintech and DPI adoption? And the answer of question number 73 is Karnataka Bank. Which country recently quit 7 UN agencies citing bias? And it was Israel. It says that these are bias against against Israel and supporting Palestine and so forth. Identify the salient features of the revised RBI Integrated Amusement Scheme released in January 26. And the answer is all 1, 2, and 3. So these are the regulated entities covered under the RBI Integrated Amusement Scheme. So just take a snapshot and read at home around say that what are the regulated entities. So banking institution, non-banking financial companies, prepaid payment instruments, issuers, and credit information companies. These would be known as the regulated entities. So, Niti Aayog, National Institution for Transforming India, the vice chairman is Suman Berry and chairman is, of course, the Prime Minister. It released the Export Preparedness Index. Important, Niti Aayog comes up with lot many other things. One of such report is known as the Multidimensional Party Report, Competitiveness Index and other things. So, whenever Niti Aayog comes up with something, if you're taking government exam, keep this in mind that you have to remember. So 76, the answer is all 1, 2, and 3. As of Jan 2026, which countries were the key market partners for India's pharmaceutical exports? Mainly the generic drugs. And the answer is Brazil and Nigeria. The base year of the new CPI. There are many things which are changed in CPI. The the items which were there in the CPI basket has been increased. The new Laspers formula has been given, which is known as young uh, formula, and there are many things. So, who decides the change in CPI series? So, there is a ministry known as MOSPI, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. I made a small YouTube short on this. I would request you to see that on the same Time website, Time channel, I'm sorry. So there is a body known as NSO, which decides the base year changes. Although ideally the base year should be changed every 5 years. But government did not changes from long, citing the reasons of demonetization of COVID or GST implementation or Russia-Ukraine war. But recently, government has made changes. There is a formula known as last year's formula, which is used to calculate CPI. There are certain changes made in last year's formula as well. You call it Young Index. So read what is Young Index all about. And there are many other changes. So it would be a complete 15, 20 minutes discussion. And since we are running short of time, so I would request you to read about the new series. And it's not only this CPI, the base year has been changed. In fact, the IIP, Index of Industrial Production, the base year and the GDP, both the places, the base year has been changed to 2022 23, right? 79, to boost the credit flow of MSMEs, the central government approved a 5,000 crore capital support to SIDBI, Small Industries Development Bank of India. It runs an organization or loan window known as Mudra. What is the full form? Micro Units Development and Refinancing Agency, via which it gives a lot of loans to MSMEs. Anyways, question number 80. To reduce dependence on the US dollars, RBI proposed linking the digital currencies of BRICS, which is Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. In this context, find the incorrect match. So India's CBDC is known as e-rupee, yes. Brazil Drex, yes. Russia digital ruble, yes. China ECNY, yes. South Africa is not e-naira. So South Africa is digital rand, right? So the question is, which country has e-naira as its digital currency? So it's Nigeria. So guys, 80 questions done. I hope I was able to explain things to you. Please revise this class, and whatever you did not know, make the notes and research. Wish you all the best and have a good evening ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you.